Hey, hello YouTube. Today we're going to be taking the upper and lower ball joints out of a 2000 model Ram 1500. It doesn't matter, four-wheel drive or not. You're just going to have a little bit more work to do to remove the axle. Now, I've taken the liberty of going ahead and removing the hub. And the only thing involved in removing the hub, I'm going to back you out and show you, is the separation of the lower ball joint and the upper ball joint. And I've already removed the upper ball joint, so I can show you really quickly how this is done. Again, there's your knuckle, and it will separate. Take off my brake line, and I reinsert my brake line nut back into the caliper here, so as not to have fluid squirt out everywhere while I'm hammering these out. And I say hammer them out because when you remove the nut off of the ball joints, you'll have to actually strike this knuckle with a hammer, and it'll pop a loose. I always do the upper one first so the weight of this knuckle can hang onto the bottom knuckle. And then of course, you might can even see right there where I hammered the crap out of it. These Dodges are extremely sticky on the bottom, so don't be shy. Get you a big old hammer and knock the crap out of it right there on the knuckle. Don't strike the shaft of the actual ball joint itself. You're not going to get much results there. Actually strike the surface of the knuckle. And you're not going to hurt this knuckle by striking it with a hammer. But the upper one should take you 4 or 5 licks, no problem. It'll pop right off. The bottom one, maybe a dozen or so. You're going to hit the crap out of that one. And then it'll just drop straight down. You take off the brake line so you can just swing it out of the way and put it over there out of the way. We're not doing tie rods or anything else, so I left that attached. We'll get this plane in just a second to get over. Gotta love planes. Anyhow, one time you remove the ball joints, the steering knuckle from the ball joints and rested it to the side, what you're going to be looking at is these great big rivets that are holding it on. Now, for speed and all for my convenience, what I do is use my cutting torches. It makes life a whole lot easier. I understand that y'all are not going to have cutting torches, so I'm going to walk you through how to do that. And as you can tell, I just burned the tops of the rivets off, the round section. Now on the upper one time you burnt those off, you're just going to or grind them off or drill them off, whatever your options are. You'll just strike it with a hammer and the ball joint will pop right out. And there it is right there. And I'm not dare going to touch that. That's a little bit warm still. It just quit smoking just a second ago. So anyway, we'll let that sit there and cool down. But as you can tell, the rivets are still in the bottom. What the heck, I'm going to flip it. I'm going to touch it just for you guys with a pair of pliers. There you go. As you can tell, I just burnt off the tops and then strike it with a hammer on the outside top there, and it'll pop right out of the control arm. Now on your replacement bolts are going to be slightly larger. Most of the kits I've dealt with, the bolts are just slightly larger, so you'll want to get a drill bit appropriate size and enlarge them holes just a hair. And I'm not taking the control arm off. What I do is I pull it down with my pry bar right there in that location. As you can see, just slide it right in there on the nut and then pull it down. I'll hold it like that while I drill it. I'll sit on this bar and run my drill bit right through them holes, and it'll open it up really easily. But on the bottoms are a booger. You can go ahead and burn the tops of these off, grind them off, or you can just start by putting a small dimple right in the center and drilling straight down. And you're going to have to go all the way through. The reason I say that is the majority of times, and I say majority, I say 9.9 out of 10 times, if you just remove the head of this rivet and try and knock the rest of the rivet bound through the bottom, it's not going to work. And the reason being is because this ball joint, when put in from the factory, I don't know why, it wasn't held perfectly straight. So these rivets aren't going straight up and down. They're going to be cocked, angled, just a hair, just enough to where they won't fit down through. So what you're actually going to have to do is remove the head of these rivets and drill straight down all the way through, until you can actually remove the small sleeve that's left over. Don't worry about getting off track just a hair, and just a hair only. but I'm going to walk you through that right now. I'm going to go ahead and remove one of these heads and drill it out and show you how it's done. Okay, and after you got them burnt off or ground off or whatever you're going to do, you should be looking at something about like that. And if you'll note, you can just barely make out the outer ring of where the rivet goes. I'm still going to grind this one, and you know, I'll grind them all down just a hair now. But you can see the hole, and that's what you're going to want. Now, of course, it never hurts to try and beat them out. And when I say beat them out, I mean beat them out. But you know, very, very rarely do I ever get one of these that you can just knock the rivets out through the bottom and have these pop right out. So what we usually end up doing is you'll make a pilot hole, and by pilot hole I mean you'll take a punch and put it in the center of the outline. You put it right in the center and make a hole for the drill bit to follow, and then we'll drill straight down all the way through with a smaller bit, and then we'll raise that bit up maybe once or twice more before we reach the actual size that we want, to where we'll be able to knock those all the way out. And the reason we do that is to make the wall of the rivet really thin, so that whenever I go to finally punch it through, and with the last stage or the second or third stage drill bit, I will only go through all the way to the bottom side of this rivet. I won't go all the way through, so I can put my punch in from the top and use this to grab a hold and pull it down. You understand? In other words, I have a small hole in here, but the large bit I won't run all the way through. I'll run it all the way to here, but I'll leave it before it goes all the way through, so I'll have a surface to put a punch in from the top and knock those rivets out. And I'm going to go ahead and start a pilot hole now and show you what I'm talking about. Another trick for y'all. Figured I'd show you this too. This is a pretty bad drill. It's got a T-handle on the top, but I remove it because the control arm gets in the way when I'm doing these. But a good way to get downward pressure on your drill is to come up underneath the control arm and hold that with a pry bar, and then you get downward pressure. You don't want your drill to be running wide open either. You want to feather the trigger. In other words, don't just grab that trigger and hit it full blast and hold it. The drill bit could be turning too fast, you'd be dulling the bit out, and there's more of a chance of the bit grabbing and this thing whipping around and hurting your hand, or coming all the way around and hitting you in the face. What I like to do is stand completely back out of the way. I don't have my arm bent or in a bad position. I'll grab a hold of it and have my arm perfectly straight going all the way to the drill. So if it does go to bite and swing around on me, I got a big hold. If it goes to bite and swing around on you and you got your arm bent, say like this, it's going to jerk your arm straight, swing it around and throw your knuckles in there. So if you're using a T-handle drill like this, keep your arm in a straight position and feather that drill. Hit it, hit it, hit it. And this drill bit has already went all the way through. Let's see, there it is. A little bit off center, but we don't care. That's not what we're worried about. What we're worried about, like I said, we're not going to go all the way through again. So what we just needed was a pilot hole to thin out the thing. And that's the back one. That's going to be the worst one to get to. This other back one here on the opposite side, you'll be able to get a better angle on. I wanted to show you the worst one in case you came out a little crooked like that. You wouldn't freak out and be like, oh my God, I just screwed up. But no, you're fine. But that's my pilot hole. I'm going to yank that out, and go ahead and yank that out now. And there you go. Pilot hole, it's right in the center on the top, comes out a little bit of an angle on the bottom, but that's because of this thing. And remember, all I got to do is oblongate this about halfway through, maybe 3/4 of the way through. So I'm not even going to really hit this bottom bar here. I'm just going to go down about 3/4 of the way through. And I'll do it with the pilot hole first, because the big bit is very hard to fish down through there at one time. But if you make a pilot hole, things get a lot easier. So there you go, little pilot hole in there. Now we're going to open that up with another bit, but I'm going to go ahead and pilot out all the rest of them first, and then we'll come back with the larger bit and I'll show you what's up. Okay, that's representing a good 30 minutes worth of drilling. And as you can see, I just left a little thin wall of that rivet, about halfway deep on that one. I need to get a little bit more. But the rivet wall is very thin now, so whenever I go to hammer it down, it'll cave in where it's distorted. You see just a little thin wall left on that one too. Didn't quite go all the way around. Didn't oblongate the hole. If you do come down on one side of the rivet or the other, it's okay. You can still see a little bit of lip of the rivet right there. So we're looking really good. What I'm gonna do at this point is stick a you can see it's countered right there. I left that hit so I can put my punch in there, hit it real hard and try and drive it out. That's what I'm gonna do now, is try and drive one or two out and see how close I am. If not, I'll be doing some more drilling. Hadn't done that one yet. I usually try and cheat. I'll do 3 and then I'll try and run that one out with just a punch, because one time you got 3 out, you can wiggle this around enough to maybe get that last one to go out. I'm just trying to speed things up. May have to drill that too, don't know yet. But I'm gonna give it a shot and see if I can't knock out one of these right now. And if not, we'll get back to drilling. What I've done is I'll just take a bolt. Won't fit all the way down through there, of course, because it's countersunk. I'll put it right there, and I'm gonna knock the piss out of that with a hammer. Hope it don't pee on me. We'll see how this works. It's gonna pop out. I have to put it back in. There it goes. And there's one of your rivets. Now, you'll see how it's filtering off to an edge on that one side. It's not perfectly straight up and down. That's the reason I wanted to drill that out, to give that a shot at collapsing and moving for me. But there you go. There's one out. We're going to do the other ones and see if we can't get it out. Beautiful. That's how it's done. Now I'm going to move that bolt over to the next one, and we'll give it a shot. See how it does. Alright, so there you have it. All of them out. Knocked out. They come out, you know, like a mother. This is taking approximately about 45 minutes. But I've done a couple of these. This should take you an hour or two. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take a hammer and we're going to strike that ball joint right there on the lip this way. It's not going to come out very easily. We're going to have to strike it kind of hard. And one time we get it back past one of these lips, I'll use a screwdriver and I'll jam it in there like so and apply a little bit of pressure and get behind the bolt, and when the bolt hole gets over here, I'll use pressure and we'll work it out that way. And then we'll slide in a new one. And I'm fixing to beat that out right now, and I'm going to save y'all from having to listen to all them bangings while I knock this thing out. And there you have it. A couple more little taps and it's on out. And of course you got your new ones, you know, you just put them in there, tap it in. And of course the pertaining hardware to each one, they bolt in. Make sure you bolt them in there really tight. It'd be nice to use some Loctite if you got it. If not, just make sure you get them good and tight and you're ready to rock. The upper one works the same way, but like I said, you might have to elongate them holes with a drill bit. And that's it. Bolt them in, put your knuckle back on, and you just saved yourself probably around $700–800 in labor. I do it for around $350. But you know, I'm about half price is what the dealers and all the other shops charge. But anyway, good luck, and wish you the best. Good luck with it.